Speaking of storms, storm recovery efforts continue today. In East Louisville, we found one street so badly paralyzed with damage there's no way in or out. That's off Ormsby Lane between Linden and Middletown. Our Taylor Woods and photojournalist Ian Hardwick managed to get inside for an update on how cleanup is progressing.
Giant limbs, twisted, torn, and broken.
3 seconds, we heard this large roar, boom, and it hit, and the tree was on us. It happened that quick.
Trees that used to surround James Burns' house near Ballard High School are now in it.
Probably one of the scariest I've ever been. It was pretty terrifying. And, we're all okay. The dog, the cats, everybody was fine. We just got to figure out how to go from there.
10 minutes away in Linden. No way in, no way out. Trapped on this street off Ormsby Lane.
And then when I got up to go this morning, I was blocked. There was a police car out in front and I couldn't pass. So
neighbors are left stranded, not able to drive to work or run any errands.
Of course, we went grocery shopping on Saturday, and now almost all of our food is ruined.
Inside the Sycamore Creek subdivision, most trees were damaged.
Bush is completely undisturbed. Those flowers are perfect, but this tree's gone.
Cleanup crews are also out trying to cut down trees at an apartment complex down the street. One neighbor says he can still remember the big sound from the tornado.
I was out on my porch and my ears were ringing for probably about 5 minutes afterwards, after the transformers exploded right here.
Although some Linden residents are left trapped until repairs are made, they have been depending on other means of transportation like bikes or Uber.
We went into one neighbor's house and put candles on, and we sat there and kind of watched our phones till they died.
However, neighbors say the community has united during this time of need.
Everybody's coming together and everybody's just, hi, how are you doing? And we're meeting new neighbors that we haven't met before.
Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 on your side.
Power was restored to the neighborhood this morning. Today we also learned it's not so much downed power lines, but in fact downed AT&T communication lines blocking residents in that neighborhood. So crews were already out there this morning working on that issue. Down in Hardin County, a confirmed tornado flattened cornfields, ripped off roofs, and lifted vehicles. The National Weather Service assessed the damage over in Cecilia, where it says an EF2 touched down there. It's something homeowner John Key also observed.
My front porch ended up in the backyard, and part of the back patio ended up in the front yard. There's definitely a tornado. The corn's laying down 2 different directions, and you can tell it was swirling.
Thankfully, no one was injured there in Hardin County. We do know at least one person. Storms in our area. A tornado hit an Indiana home in Martin County, killing a man inside and injuring another person. You can see this photo taken by a viewer in that same area showing what that tornado looked like as it barreled toward homes. Well, right now there are still thousands of LG&E customers without power following Sunday's storms. Take a look there at that outage map, which is showing more than roughly 4,000 in the dark. Most of those are in Jefferson County. And State Farm claims following the Indiana storms have doubled. As of this morning, it said it's received 1,400 claims for the auto and home damage. 75% of the auto claims filed have been for hail, while some damage claims filed are split between hail damage and wind damage. We are anticipating a few more days of cleanup in Kentuckiana for all things weather related. Download that free WHAS 11 news app. All right, let's get a check, a live look here at I-65 in Hardin County. Right now, we're going to be taking a look from around 1 a.m. We had all southbound lanes that were closed to traffic after a deadly crash and involved at least 3 semis. We know at least one person died. That crash happened just before the Glendale exit, again on 65 southbound. It shut down a good 5-mile stretch of I-65. And as of the noon hour, it looked like they were getting ready to reopen 65 south there in Hardin County. We'll keep you posted on that. 2 shootings overnight, 2 people dead and no suspects. The first happened around 7:15 last night in Louisville's Russell neighborhood. Police were called to the Platinum Food Mart at 10th and Broadway. That's where officers found a man with gunshot wounds who died at the scene. It's unclear if the shooting occurred in or outside of that store. Then about 15 minutes later and just 5 minutes down the road, officers were called to 26th and Madison, also in the Russell neighborhood. They found another man shot dead. There are no suspects in either of these shootings. Major Nick Owen with LMPD said they need people to come forward with information.
This has occurred in broad daylight, a heavily trafficked area. So I'm pretty confident there are witnesses. I would encourage those witnesses to step forward, contact 574 LMPD, and give us any information you can to help us make an arrest in this case.
Right now, police said they do not believe the shootings are related. A Shively man pleaded guilty to killing his wife and shooting one of his children. In court yesterday, Ronald Burdett pleaded guilty to murder, assault, and wanton endangerment. He admitted to shooting his wife before turning the gun on his 11-year-old twins. His daughter was injured, his son not. The incident happened last July. The twins were the ones able to call 911. The recommended sentence for Burdett is at least 25 years. He will be sentenced in August. 30 stolen cars now in the possession of LMPD, and they are trying to understand how this operation flew under the radar. Their investigation, called Operation Havana Highway. LMPD said these 30 luxury cars were estimated to be around $3 million in worth and paid off by insurance companies. Detectives said thieves are cloning the original vehicle identification numbers of the cars, ultimately making it hard to identify if it's stolen or not.
We received information that certain cars were stolen, and we started looking into it. And like I said, when it started, to me, it didn't appear as a stolen car. And then we got with KSP, and they did their research and found out that they were actually stolen cars.
LMPD said some of these cars were stopped by police but went undetected as stolen. So far, only 6 arrests have been made. Old National Bank opened the doors to its new downtown branch this week after a mass shooting at its Preston Point location in April. 5 people there were killed when an employee opened fire on his colleagues. Now that first floor building of the Mercer building. The first floor of the Mercer building at 4th and Market is the new branch's location, previously occupied by stockyards. The branch is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And today there is a fundraiser benefiting Officer Nicholas Wilt in his recovery. You know, he is the LMPD officer who was shot in the head while responding to that bank shooting. The fundraiser will be at the Golden Nugget Tavern on Hikes Lane. There will be a raffle, a silent auction, and a Dunk a Cop booth. It all begins at 5 o'clock. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says close to 45,000 Jefferson County residents could lose their health care coverage if they do not renew their Medicaid insurance soon. During the COVID-19 public health emergency, Kentucky was able to expand its Medicaid eligibility, which allowed hundreds of thousands of you to gain health insurance. Now, with COVID-related policies ending, eligibility certification is back, and it'll run through next May. To ensure you don't lose coverage, you should check to see if you need to reapply.
The most important thing to stress right now is submit your information. Like Mayor Greenberg said, almost 300,000 Jefferson County residents still have to go through this renewal process. Even if your circumstances have changed, even if you don't think that you're still eligible, submit your information.
If you see any notices of recertifying, you should respond so you can renew and ask any questions you may need ahead of that deadline.